Hi everyone, and welcome to the Innovation Office. The Innovation Office is a podcast and a web show promoted by AmCham. And the main goal is to really open the innovation offices across Portugal and to really learn from their leaders, to learn how they build, they think, they deliver innovation so that any other leaders can learn from them. And my name is Sara, as it was shared. Besides the CINO in the making, I work for Procter & Gamble as a senior brand and product manager within the digital innovation team.
And I'm Marco. And today we're here to record for the first time live. So you guys are our first audience here in the Startup World Cup in the Unicorn Factory in Lisbon. So it's a huge pleasure and thank you for the invitation to be here. And with us today, I want to welcome, me and Sara want to welcome our amazing guest, António Coutinho. António Coutinho, like it was said, is the CEO of EDP Innovation. António has led the innovation platform for EDP for a long time and has been helping and innovating through the energy transformation that we all need, and we will probably approach all the innovations on that part here. And he's been doing this in the EDP group since 2003. Also has embodied many other functions from EDP Commercial Chief Energy Management Officer, as well as EDP Renewables in North America. So António has a vast experience in this area of power, utilities, and energy, as well as innovation. António, so thank you so much for being with us again.
It's a real pleasure.
It is a real pleasure as well for us. António was our guest in the first season. We're at season 2 now, and our first guest as well for a live presentation. So thank you so much, António, for
And an
for
English version.
And an English version as well. It's not our first.
No, but it's live and English.
True story, true story. For those of you that may not know, the Innovation Office is exactly this, is interviews that we do for the innovators, both startup, students, community, that everybody that loves innovation. And for those of you that are listening at home, hope that you check up here our partner in this live presentation. The Startup World Cup is also a very good partnership that we have here. Let's kick it off, our conversation for our episode today. And because we're dreaming, and this is a day for thinking outside the box and thinking towards the future, my question, António and Sara, and for us to discuss is, what's the next big wave? So we're probably, all of us, looking at what should we bet on, what's the horse that's going to lead the charge in the next 3 to 5 years. So what should we be thinking of, António?
Well, you know, if you ask different people, you get different answers. 25 years is a very long period. I think we are all surprised by how fast things are going. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to fail miserably. And 25 years again is very long. And I think we all know many things that are moving and they are feeding on itself. So AI feeds biotechnology, biotechnology feeds materials and other things and so on. So it's very hard to really have a good understanding about how these type of things are going to interact with each other and put the next big wave. But if I want to outline something that I think is going to be really impressive is automation. You know, I usually say automation is AI on physics. It's only possible because automation at scale, it's only possible because AI has evolved the way it has evolved. But I usually say to my friends that in 10 years' time, we need to find a place in our homes to place the humanoid that is going to work for us. And, you know, I say 10 years' time, because I'm really pushing for a safe target.
Oh yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's going to be shorter, a lot shorter.
I agree, and and I agree, and I'll just add to your point that AI. I think it's been the promise of this automation of processes. I remember in the beginning, it was process automation that was the dream, and it was called process automation. Artificial intelligence was a term that was mostly used in science fiction than in practice. What we're looking for is, okay, let's do this without human interaction in something that it's like button pushing. It's simple enough for a machine to do it by itself. It just needs a rule engine that is more than just simple linear code. And that's the thing. Let's get out of the box of that part of the problem and part of the equation that I believe that's been there as available for all of these companies.
And that's precisely why AI, because the world is so complex, that the ability to answer and to move into something that goes beyond expectations is so relevant. So we are now seeing, I mean, I'm sure that all of you have seen on Reels, on Instagram and so on, things that are pretty amazing and they didn't exist 2 years ago.
I agree, and it's a wonderful time. Probably there's a lot of engineers here in the audience. It's a wonderful time to be an engineer. I know we're both engineers, and it's like, okay, I've been dreaming for this potential to reach this point since, well, it was a dream when we were studying most of the things that we're talking. And let's ground ourselves then, same question, same principle. So where should we be betting or what's the winning horse we're putting our money in for the same question in Portugal. So we're thinking about the next wave worldwide. We've been seeing robots dancing, jumping around, and for Portugal.
I would say again automation, and the reason. So my first answer has to do with how the fundamentals are evolving, and for the technology that has the ability to be widespread adopted. Now, why in Portugal automation is going to be a key element is that in the Western world, in Europe, and particularly in the south of Europe, we are going to have to deal with the problem of the working population lowering significantly. We are expected by the United Nations to reduce about 20% the number of people available to work. And that's a tremendous change from the past. In the past, our GDP was growing because we were adding more people and a little bit of productivity. Now the future is very different. We are lowering the number of people that are available to work because of demography. And this is the same that is occurring in China. And that's the reason China is leading already and is betting. So now China is leading on EVs, right? But this was a bet that they did, 10 years ago, but really a big bet in 5 years ago. They are really betting on automation now, and they will be in a very good position in 5 years' time.
For sure.
And this will impact productivity, will impact the ability to run factories with less people, and also it will impact the way we live our lives, even in our homes, the way we teach, the way we manage healthcare, the way we manage an older population.
Yep. And building on top of what you said. Other revolutions take a lot of investment in the adoption. So there's industries that, industrial revolutions that happen in many industries that take a lot of investment. And sometimes the size of the country, the size of the population is an obstacle to achieve that. I think the point that you're covering, automation, adopting this technology to scale, basically.
To scale, to accelerate.
To accelerate, is something that doesn't require that amount of investment. It requires knowledge. It requires skilling up the population, not as much building infrastructure and adopting large-scale technology, hard technologies that need to be built and take time to adopt. Just building factories like China has built for the previous revolution isn't as easy as adopting this technology. And I love that you put
some
that
of
point.
these. So, for example, a robotic arm is a commodity today.
Yep.
I mean, it's a commodity. You can buy a robotic arm by 500 euros.
Probably can build it
You
in
can
3D.
buy no, but
With a
I
3D
think
printer.
the difference is how do you install a robotic arm in a factory?
Yep.
How do you create a layer of control, a layer of learning that is fast enough, is flexible enough for the productivity of that factory increases dramatically. So we are starting, there are places already where coffees are taken by a robotic arm.
Yep.
We are going to see these in less than 5 years' time as something very ubiquitous. Because we won't have the people, we won't, in some types of work, we cannot afford to pay people to do that type of work because salaries are going to increase with the decrease of people. It has to do like this.
No, it is a great point. And hardware that was built before wasn't as generic as the one that is now. So your point is amazingly powerful, is we should focus on what's different now and what we can improve. And improving is software. Improving is where should I apply this? What's the use case that can scale and get me both the return and the progress that I need, both as a company probably, or as a startup, or as an inventor, as well as a society that needs to collect on all of the new innovations that we need to build. Those innovations, I believe, aren't just to make profit, and hopefully there's profit involved in it, but there's a lot of it that has to do with solving big problems, like you're saying. We need larger workforces. We need to we have a challenge that will hit us in a couple of years, and if we don't think about it now, then we cannot solve it.
Let me tell you something about that. I usually say, and I say very frequently, that innovation is not an invention. Innovation is an idea that is put in practice at scale. So if the idea was not put in action, it's not an innovation. It's an idea. If it is not put to scale, it's an invention. Only when an idea is put in action at scale, we are talking about an innovation.
Love it.
I think it is a very important element to highlight.
Love it. And I think this is a good key way for us to continue our conversation. Do you want to kick it off as well, Sarah?
Yeah, especially because on this point of the knowledge that it's needed to actually do this type of bets, to actually understand them and make sure that we are taking the right action at the right scale in the right environment. There's a lot of value in the collaboration between different players of the ecosystem. And we've actually heard today, we had Brisa and Sograb just before, and we've heard also in the other panels about stories of startups collaborating with corporates and universities and organizations like the Unicorn Factory. When you look at a potential partnership or collaboration with a startup, what is it that you look for? Meaning, what are really the right signs for you, like the green flags that tell you that it's actually a good option for you, for whatever goal you have? Is it the team, the traction, the timing, the product, the technology? And on the other side as well, what are the red flags? Because sometimes there are a lot of green flags and looks like it's going to work if we make the effort, but there are some things that tell us that maybe it's not the right path.
So I'm not going to say anything revolutionary. I'm going to say something that you all know, but it's the team, and it looks like a little bit cheesy, right? The team. Everyone says that, right? But everyone can understand why it's important, the quality of the team. It's not the quality of the people per se, but it's the quality of the team. And everyone recognizes that this is, do we have talent or not? The team has talent, this startup has talent or not. What was a surprise to me is the weight of why the team is so relevant. You know, I had the idea that it was a kind of a 50-50. If you know, 50 the idea or the problem that they are trying to solve, the other is 50 the quality of the team. It's actually 80-20, 80 on the team. And I'm going to say why. Because even a very good idea will encounter challenges and problems. If the team is not good, the way they approach, if they don't have complementary skills and so on, those problems on a good solution may present to be unsolvable. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have a very good team and a lousy idea, they will recognize that it's a lousy idea and they will find adjacent solutions. They will find their way to reach to something that is going to be successful. So, how many companies do we know that they started with this problem, with this solution, and their winning flavor of the month is a completely different one? They have, you know, completely toured the solution to something that they found that the market wants, and they found the way to reach, to solve the problems and to reach the market. So I would say 80-20, the quality of the team. Now, on the red flags, you know, very simple red flag. I always ask the startups, you know, how many people do you have on the sales side? The Portuguese startups, they have, oh, it's me, the CEO. Oh, okay. This is not going to fly. This is not going to fly. That's a red flag.
Okay.
You know, it's not uncommon on successful startups to be a 50-50. I have 50% of people developing the product, and I have 50% of the people trying to reach the market, selling the product, and understanding the iterations that I need to do to solve the problem. The third red flag, or actually I should say that this is almost as a first red flag that comes with the team. You know, what is the problem that you are trying to solve? It's unbelievable the difficulty that sometimes startups have to answer this type. I mean, this is a very simple question.
Right?
What is the problem that you are trying to solve?
Yeah.
So sometimes a lot of people, particularly engineers, by the way, they are in love with their technology.
Yeah.
But they need to be in love. This is also a classic, but you need to really appreciate this. You need to be in love with the problem. And if you are in love with the problem, it's a lot easier to discard the solution. Say, you know, this solution looked great, but is not really solving the problem because the problem has this slight perspective that wasn't captured and the market is not valuing.
And still trying to help our founders here, because at the end of the day, this is an event to celebrate innovation and to discuss it, but it's also to give the space and the knowledge and the insights to the startups that are here with us. We heard about green flags, red flags, what they should make sure that they know how to answer, and what they need to make sure that they have in their operational model. But what is it that they should demand from a corporate when they are trying to collaborate with them? Either as a new supplier or doing a pilot together, whatever it is the collaboration model, but basically based also on the ones you have experience with at EDP. what needs to be in the first place, what needs to be true, like what needs to exist from both sides, and then what can they demand more, or at least at the minimum from the corporate, so that whatever collaboration exists is successful.
So we started on open innovation initiatives really far away, okay? So EDP Innovation started in 2007. We started investing in startups in 2008, and then we already have 8 editions of free electrons, which is something that we do with other 6 utilities around the world to scout startups around the world, then pilot some projects, and hopefully do rollout contracts with those startups to really fast adopt innovative solutions within the company. Mm-hmm. Now, the first thing that I would say to founders, please be patient. It will take time on corporates, okay? The decision processes are what they are. You know, people understanding new technologies, feeling comfortable with the risk, and incorporating those doing the pilot and incorporating those technologies on the companies take time. Particularly if you are running an infrastructure, the question of risk is a really relevant one. And corporates try to avoid risk a lot because the risk that they have as a brand of something that doesn't work is very relevant. So I would say first, be patient. But at the same time, be demanding on, you know, is this going to work or not? You know, I can, if you manage my expectations saying, this will take 6 months, I can manage taking 6 months, but you need to address that commitment and also that expectation. Yeah. And this is something that we do with all the startups that we work. Actually, now for us, it's a lot faster. We have a fast track for our procurement, which is always a challenge. We actually designed a different procurement process for the startups to really fast track this type of things. For example, in Portugal, if you are using a company that is outside of EU, the tax implications and the tax documentation that you need to have is it's so cumbersome that it's hard for you to manage this type of thing. So you need to, as you get more experience with these type of things, you start managing your own processes and adapt those processes to better answer to the startups. And then it's a lot easier. Today we run about more than 20 pilots across the world with startups. And we are every year putting an additional Lego piece on the process. Gets more complex, but the idea is to take more value out of this process. Right. That is, for us, is very important. And it's very important because it's the fastest way for you to roll out innovative solutions on an existing business.
And Antonio, I have a follow-up question that actually touches both this one and the previous answer that you gave us. Is that a problem? And what I mean is, especially today, when startups are built very fast, they are scaled faster than ever, and a lot of media and conversations exist around the idea of a $1 billion company, and this idea that we can actually have a unicorn that is just one person with many AI agents. Is this on one hand a speed that corporates will still be able to follow along? Because it was already harder for the fastest or the faster speed of a startup versus a corporate when the world was a bit more traditional, and that's why it was always like this idea of the patience and the risk and like give us time so we can give you something else back. Is this still possible in a world that it's so quick? Plus, what is the role of the team in this type of context, right? Because in big corporates, you just described it, and I know it's the reality at P&G as well, for example, is like we want to know who the team is, like how much they grew over the last years, months, like do you have some kind of hints on their actual maturity and capability of handling an enterprise level service? But today, such a different world.
So let me answer this way. First of all, we are saying that there will be a unicorn of one person.
Yeah.
But we don't have it yet.
No, yeah.
First thing. The second is, are we going to have 1,000 one-man unicorn? Probably not. We are going to have one-man unicorn, one-person unicorn in several of them, okay? But we are not going to have 1,000, 1 million.
That's
of
my
those
bet
companies.
on the big wave. Let's see which one of us
exactly.
is right in
we
25 years from now.
We are going to meet. So the point is, we live in a physical world.
Right.
The physical world has some limitations. You know, things to scale, they really require us to put things in practice. And believe me, when I'm talking about energy, I know what I'm talking about. It takes time. It's hard. When you are digital, it's easier for you to really scale with one person and with AI agents that just multiply yourself. Yeah, but you know, how many of those businesses can you do in a physical world? Yes, you can. You are going to do a lot of these type of things, but they will have a common nature that is not bound by physics. When they are bound by physics, you know, creating buildings. Well, I mean, if you could solve the problem with AI agents to solve the housing problem in Lisbon, that would be great. That would be a 10 unicorn right away, right? Decacorn. But you know, the physical world has some limitations, and a lot of corporates, they work on physical works like PG&E. So in the end, the ability to grow this type of businesses require small startups, but those small startups, they don't address the customer problem directly. Their go-to market strategy goes through the corporate. Right. It's a B2B2C business. So they are your sales channel. If they are your sales channel, it's their brand that is at stake. Well, yeah. So there are reputational risk. So you have to manage all of these elements. Yep. But again, you need to be patient, but you need to be demanding at the same time.
Makes sense. And you touched point on the AI bit as an enabler basically for a lot of these things. And when it's software, it's easier. Maybe hardware, going back to the automation part, yeah, maybe we're going to build the robots and then the agents will be there.
And they will build robots themselves.
Exactly, maybe that's the future one day, I don't know. But the thing is, we have problems today, and going to your point, we have specific problems where AI is being applied to solve them directly. And to your point as well, you're talking about the energy sector as some big problems to tackle as well. Do you see AI as an enabler to solve those problems in terms of making more green energy, solving the energy crisis, or even the transition between the different energy that the world is facing at the moment? Do you think AI is the enabler for
AI, it's going to be very important for the energy transition on several elements. Mm-hmm. So one is automation. You know, the ability to scale. I always, the question, what is the energy transition, right? So people talking about energy transition, and okay, really, what is the energy transition? And I'm sorry, I'm going to hit the play button because, you know, I got a sentence that really highlights what is the energy transition. The energy transition is, in 25 years, we are going to rebuild the world's energy infrastructure in just 25 years. Oh, with 2 more billion people. Oh, increasing the consumption of the 2 billion people, the poorest 2 billion people. A small transition. So it's really massive, massive. So we are moving from 8 billion to 10 billion and completely changing the energy infrastructure that is the basis of this building. This building was built with fossil fuels. Now we are going to build buildings with electricity. Do we have that electricity yet? No. Do we have those machines that do? No. But you have 25 years. So we need automation to really build things at the speed and the scale that we are not building today. Mm-hmm. And this is actually one of the projects that we are developing. So I would say automation. So as I was saying, that automation is the physical nature of AI. Right. That's one element. But there is another element. So we are going, the majority of the energy that we are going to produce is through intermittent sources. Now, and distributed sources. So imagine that instead of having just one coal power plant, 2,000 megawatts, working smoothly, but emitting CO2, but on a given point, generating a lot of energy to the grid. And then everyone is getting energy from the grid. Now it's going to be much more complex. Everyone is producing energy. Everyone is storing energy in their cars, in their houses. Everyone is interacting with the prices and so on. Wow, that's really complex. The only way we can manage that complexity is using AI to really address the physical nature of electricity, because the electrons go where they want to go, not where we would like them to go. So AI is going to place a very important element on this. There is another element where AI is going to change the way you use materials. So our batteries are going to be lighter, are going to be cheaper, because we are going to use AI that in a fraction of time is able to, and this is happening. This is happening as I speak. They are going to test millions of materials, of different ways of composing materials, and testing their ability to store energy. Mm-hmm. And so AI is putting a very important place on the energy transition, on making it happen in 25 years.
Makes sense. But I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate at this moment. Isn't it? So we saw tweets from the CEO of OpenAI, from Altman, that's saying, please stop tanking AI because tanking ChatGPT because it's consuming a lot of energy. So doesn't it has the potential as well to be a destructive force, or at least to amplify the problem that we're already living in, because there's an energy shortage in the world. So that's a reality that we need to solve. So we have technology, and the same technology is also helping us amplify that problem. So, and we're talking about in Europe, for instance, the data centers that we're building, and there's a lot of data centers that are being built, and there's a lot already existing for public cloud in Europe. We're thinking, because they represent a large-scale consumption of the world's energy at the moment, and the projections are of more consumption. So like I said, pure devil's advocate at this moment, I'm sorry. But my question to you is, with this view, present and future. What do you say with this AI boom that we're all feeling? Should we start thinking about forcing everybody to use green energy at data centers? What type of energies and transitions should they do by default? Because we're transitioning the housing and the building and the cities, but have a large-scale problem being built at the same time at the other end. What do you think?
So let me, energy was humbling to the CEOs of the big techs. I mean, it's incredible, if you think about it, it's incredible that these guys are putting billions on the ground, on data centers, on AI this, AI that, and so on, and then, oops, oh, we need energy. Oh, oops, where do we get the energy? I thought it was just going to the plug and the energy was there for me to use. And then suddenly, they are bounded by the physics. So this goes back to the one-person unicorn. In the end, the physics gets to be a limitation effect.
Yeah.
So we don't have the challenge just to make the transition, taking out the fossil fuels and generate electricity, renewable energy. We also have to deal with an increasing consumption of electricity. And so for two reasons. One is that we are going to electrify a lot of the energy that we consume. So for example, when one of you moves your thermal car, your thermal vehicle to electric vehicle, you are going to reduce significantly the amount of energy that you are consuming, but you are consuming electricity.
Yep.
So the energy needs to be there, okay? So when you are moving from using natural gas to heat your water, to heat your home, to a heat pump, you are going to use electricity. By the way, electrifying heat and mobility, the consumption of energy is a lot bigger than the data centers. Okay?
Yeah.
The data centers are very concentrated, and they are really trying to do this really fast in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So we have time for the electrification of the mobility and the heat, because the physical nature of this transformation on the consumption side gives time for the infrastructure to adapt. Now, on the data centers, it's different. We want to build it yesterday. And, oh, I don't have the energy, I don't have the lines, I don't have... Oh, we are going to do a nuclear. Good luck, takes 20 years. So it's incredible that the CEOs are realizing that this is painful and is going to be a hard constraint for their growth.
Yeah.
So I think that we will see a lot of challenges, and I think probably one way of looking at it, it's to start being a lot more energy efficient on AI. And the Chinese are showing DeepSeek is a lot more efficient than the Western approaches. So there will be competition on the energy side because it's a hard constraint.
Yeah. I love the pragmatism of your answer, António. Amazing. I love it. Just one quick follow-up. It's because there's this big problem as well in the smart grid space where and you were saying the transition in homes is easier because, well, you need the infrastructure to change, and the infrastructure won't change because there's not enough investment and physical ability to change all of that. But still, there's a lot of intelligence and planning, and there's a hard problem that could be solved with a little bit with software, making grid smarter. We were talking about directing the electron, and maybe even efficiency of cities, storage of energies, technology for that could also be half digital, half physical problem that, I don't know, what's your take on innovating on that? Is this a space for the next 3 years maybe of innovation?
So let me start by saying that the majority of the energy transition problem is not technology.
Fair.
We already have the technology to take out 70, 80% of the emissions. Okay, the last 20, we don't know how to solve it, okay? But we already know how to solve 70, 80%. And by the way, on the money. Okay, so we are going to save money by moving to this new reality. So what's the problem? It's just making it happen is a problem. I mean, think about this. Imagine your building, and you still have a gas water heater. You still have a gas oven, or a gas
Plates.
plates.
Hot
Okay.
plates.
Now imagine that you need someone to take that and install other stuff.
Yep.
A heat pump that needs to be on side of the building and so on, make the connections and so on. It's one day, 2 persons doing this in your home. But your building has 18 people living there, so you need to do that 18 times. But then there are the other buildings in your street. I mean, just imagine the amount of people that you need to have to make this change.
Yep.
So while we are talking about the digital side, if I don't do this, I don't have the room for digital to play.
Okay.
We need the humanoids to be trained to do that kind of job, right?
Probably. Yeah, probably. That's the point. So precisely that's the point. So if I don't have enough people to make the transformation, let's ensure that I have ways of multiplying people that are knowledgeable, are able to do always the same thing with quality and consistency in a way that's cheaper, by the way, and I can do the revolution, because we are talking about a revolution, basically, faster. Yeah, that's precisely the point.
Great point.
Yeah, and I think to conclude, Antonio, because we've been talking for a while now, even though we could probably stay here talking for another hour or two. But I really don't want to leave this conversation without touching upon culture and the role it plays on driving innovation. And I would like to get your perspective on how our culture, both the organizational culture that we have in Portugal and the culture we have as a nation, which we have been seeing changing over the past couple of years, or a few more than just a couple, with startups becoming more and more interesting and more common as well, but also more corporates paying attention to innovation, building new innovation teams. Like we really see the ecosystem booming. But I would like to understand, what do you think are our strengths when it comes to our culture to innovate well? And what are our opportunities for slight changes of habits, of operational frameworks, mental models, whatever it is, that could actually help us innovate more and better across all these different types of players?
So much to say. Okay, so we are saying that innovation is about solving problems, right? And the Portuguese are actually very good on solving problems in a non-systematic way. We are so good at solving problems that we left to the very end to think about the problem, because we will find a solution in the end. And it's a solution that is perfect. It doesn't kill us, it makes us survive. But it does not make us thrive. And I think that would be the biggest change. Because innovation, now I'm talking about on a company perspective, is a systemic process.
I agree.
By the way,
Incremental.
the best definition that I saw of culture comes from a Harvard professor called Clayton Christensen. Some of you may know. Is one of his most important books was The Innovator's Dilemma. And And his definition of culture for me, it's really good. It's the way a company really solves the problem. It's not the way they say to solve the problem. It's not the process that are written. It's the way they really solve the problem. Some solve problems shouting, some solve the problem by connecting people. I mean, the way companies solve problems is their culture. So, and if we are saying that innovation and problems or solving problems is a part of the same thing, then the connection between culture and innovation and problems, it gets completely triangled. So, you know, what would be my advice is to a company to think about innovation. First, think about as a systemic process. I mean, it's a process like procurement. It's not the way we Portuguese sometimes think, is that, you know, how we'll have an idea. No. You have an idea, but if the idea doesn't scale, if the idea is not actionable, it's just an idea. So if it needs to be actionable and scalable, you need to have a process to make that happen. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there are two types of ideas. So incremental ones, and that you are doing this on a daily time, but they don't change the way you are as a company. Right. Then they are the non-incremental one, not to say disruptive, okay? The non-incremental one, the ones that really change your company, really gives a jump on your success, they are risky. Yep. You are not sure if they will work. So how do you know which ones work from the ones that don't work? You actually have to test all of them. But you don't have to test all of them until the very end. You start testing
incrementally.
You know, all of them, and then you need to kill them. You need to kill the ones that are not providing the answer that you want. Yeah. And you need to celebrate that. You need to celebrate, oh, I just killed an idea. Why it's great to kill an idea? Because now I have room to explore another one.
And you learn
the opportunity cost. So I would say for non-incremental ideas, you need to set up some people aside. Their role is this one. Just ensure that you provide me, I want to see those ideas, and I want to see a process of testing and killing them. And then you wait, and you will be surprised.
I like it.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really great way for us to conclude our episode of today. That's how we will, that's the key message we will leave you all with, on top of all the others that António shared with us. Because today we opened our office, the doors to this office, to a lot of interesting perspectives about a very critical sector of our economy, and probably an interesting challenge of our life as a whole, but also to some interesting ways of thinking and perceiving and building innovation that António shared with us.
For sure. Thank you, António. It's always a pleasure and an amazing lesson to be talking with you. We could talk for hours and it would never be boring, for sure. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed this conversation. Thank you to the Startup World Cup and to the Unicorn Factory for receiving us here. Our first live recording of the Innovation Office was a pleasure.
Also in English.
Sorry, also in English, for sure.
In English.
And in English, always a good challenge to do this and open up our doors to other audiences that could enjoy the episode for not being in Portuguese. It's not a limitation, it's just a preference here. And thank you to the audience that was here with us. You shared in an innovation movement as well, at least a first in probably, and we hope many experiences that we would do in the future. Also, to the people back at home that are listening to us later, don't forget, check out our partners and check out the event and check out all of the good innovations and the good things that are happening here in Lisbon. If you're from abroad, then you're listening to this in English, you should check out all of what these guys are doing. Also, thank you to our partners in all of our events, to Mio. Mio is our partner, and for the remainder of our episodes is always welcoming us in our office, our normal office, let's say it like that, as well as to Sapo, our media partner for all things media with our project, and to all the innovators that follow us and been supporting us throughout this project. You guys are the reason we do this, and thank you for all your support. And finally, thank you again to the live audience. It was a pleasure to have a physical. It's different from being in the studio, and I love this format as well. So thank you to you guys.
And we will be back in 2 weeks, not here and not live, but every 2 weeks we launch a new episode, so please check it out. And please keep building epic innovation stories so that we can tell them and tell the world about them whenever we have a chance to in the Innovation Office. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.